Give us your take on the grand jury report on mandatory overtime.
Well, the issue of mandatory overtime in the jail and in the field has been around for some time. It predates my time as sheriff. It's been an issue for about 15 years or so now. And it's really a product of a structural staffing deficit that we have at the sheriff's office that's been really exacerbated as a result of the post-recession era and the budgets that we've had to contend with as a result of that. The county, as you know, has been in dire financial straits for some time. We in the sheriff's office have lost 90 general fund positions since 2007 when we were at our highest point. And it's been very challenging. There's been two studies that have shown that we're understaffed in the jail. But unfortunately, the timing on trying to get that resolved has been very difficult, especially during a time that we're building a new jail. We have figured out an operational plan to staff that facility. But it's been a struggle, like much has, and I think the grand jury, pointed that out. There was one issue that I particularly took exception to in the grand jury report, was that there was a finding that said that we didn't take recruitment seriously, and that's just not true. And if you look into the report itself, it was as a financial consideration. It doesn't seem to be taken seriously, but the reality is we have had these tremendous financial problems, but we're spending a lot of effort recruiting the right people, and I think that we're hiring some very good people in the sheriff's office. The difficulty is that we're struggling, just like all law enforcement agencies, with a greatly diminished recruitment pool. Not as many people wanting to get into the law enforcement profession as there were before, but nevertheless, we still are doing a great job finding some really high-quality people. I'm very proud of the folks who are coming on board with us.
Share your perspective on the staffing and construction of the North County Jail project.
Well, as you know, I've been a strong advocate for and really worked hard to obtain the funding and the approvals to get the new Northern Branch Jail underway, and it is being constructed now. It'll be finished next year. We did put together a plan that is an incremental plan that uses general fund growth over a period of 12 years and carving out a piece of that growth to staff the operational costs of that jail. So the big challenge, of course, is going to be that we're going to have to hire additional people. We are already underway doing that. We have had several what we call tranches of positions that we've hired, and we have several others to go before we finish the jail. And it does create even more of a challenge for our human resources component within the organization. But I'm confident that we are going to find the right people. I'm confident that the jail is not only going to open, but it's going to be a much, much better correctional facility than what we have currently. Our existing jail is antiquated, it's poorly designed, it's a linear design that's in parts 50 years old. It's very inefficient. It's just not a nice place to be, either as an inmate or if you're working. The new jail, by contrast, is going to be operated under a completely different philosophy called direct supervision. It's going to be better for inmates, it's going to be better for staff. It's going to really allow inmates to progress in their lives, because we're going to be providing a lot more programming and assistance to offering them at least the tools to be able to be better than they were when they came in, to be more marketable, to have job skills, to have their addictions conquered, to have their anger managed, to have some kind of a viable means to make a living when they exit jail. Every housing area in the jail will have a multi-purpose room that can be used as a classroom, it can be used for religious services, it can be used for counseling, it can be used for a variety of different things. So we're very excited about the new facility and the benefits that it's going to bring to our overall correctional system here in Santa Barbara County.
What is the primary reason that you've decided to run again?
Well, I'm seeking my fourth term as sheriff, as you're aware, and the reason I'm running is because we're not done yet. There's a lot of work to be done. This jail has to come online, as I mentioned. We have to solve these problems of staffing and look to the future of our organization. We have to do a better job collaboratively with others in terms of how we interact with and how we help the mentally ill who who are in too high in numbers being involved in our criminal justice system. I'm working very hard with other community members, with other organizations within the county family and also in the community at large to address this issue, and I want to see that through. And mainly, I believe we're going to be facing some very significant challenges in the next 4 years, and I think it's important to have a leader who is a steady, proven, compassionate professional who knows what he's doing, and that's why I'm running for re-election.
What in the Sheriff Department needs fixing or improvement? You've touched on a lot of that already.
Well, we can always improve on everything that we do. I'm a firm believer in that. We can't rest on any laurels. There's always a way to make things better. And we have obviously some big challenges. Our budget drives a lot of our problems, but we have to look at creative ways to address issues of not having the right number of resources, of having a better way of doing certain things. I mentioned the mental health component earlier. That's certainly one of them that I think we can and will do a lot better in the future. I think that there are many different aspects. We're kind of behind technologically in the Sheriff's Office. Again, a lot of it driven by budget, but we are in the process of getting a few new exciting systems. We have a new jail information management system that's just come online, for example. We're going to be able to get some data and analyze and look at some data now that we weren't ever able to do without really arduous hand searching and those sorts of things. So there's always process improvements that can be taken, and the challenge is to always get everybody thinking along the lines of we got to do better. And the men and women of the Sheriff's Office do that. If you look at where we were and where we are, we have made some incredible improvements as a team, and I'm confident that we're going to continue to make those improvements in the future.
What works well in the Sheriff's Department?
Most things work well in the Sheriff's Office, despite these financial challenges that we've had. If you pick up the phone and call 911 and say you've got an emergency and you need a sheriff's deputy, then a black and white is on the way to you. If you have a problem or an ongoing issue, the Sheriff's Office is here to help with that. The men and women of the Sheriff's Office, time and time again, have delivered incredible service to the people of Santa Barbara County. And I don't think that was ever in greater focus than it was during the Thomas Fire and the subsequent debris flow. The acts of heroism, the acts of compassion and assistance, even though they were completely exhausted from the Thomas Fire, they still stepped up to the plate and really delivered in a big way for the community. And we were just one team of a team of teams that came together during that very difficult and terrible time for our county. But the Sheriff's Office, crime is down to 40-year lows in Santa Barbara County. We're blessed and fortunate to live in this great county. And despite the challenges that we have, the men and women of your Sheriff's Office are doing a great job.
If you do not win, you will be working under folks who ran against you. How do you handle that?
If I were to lose this election, then I would retire and go on and do a number of different things in my life and work with my family. But obviously that's not what I'm trying to see happen. And my hope is that I'll be doing at least 4 more years, and we'll be leaving at a different time than now.
On the flip side, if you do win, how will you handle working with the 2 men who ran against you?
This is the interesting culture and nature of the Sheriff's Office, and people ask me all the time, what's it like to have people that work, in your organization running against you? And it's awkward, and it's certainly not something that most people experience, but it is the nature of the position. The sheriff is the only really elected law enforcement officer position, and it stands to reason that it's an open office. If people want to run for this office, they're welcome to do that. In this case, 2 people have. Both of the gentlemen who are running against me are good men, and they do good work. And I would look forward to to meeting with them shortly thereafter and just let them know that my expectation was that we were going to move forward and then continue to work together. One of them is eligible to retire. I don't know that he will or won't, but if he chooses to stay, he certainly has a lot of qualities and a lot of things that I would welcome to have him stay and work, particularly in the mental health arena. And then the other one still has a couple of years, I think, before he's really eligible for a full retirement. So I would expect that he would continue and and continue to do a good job for the Sheriff's Office.
What is your take regarding the ongoing issues of negative interactions between law enforcement and members of the minority community? We talked about that on a general scale, and if you want to go to a local scope as well.
You know, this is a national debate that has really come about as a result of certain parts of the country where there have been real difficult relationships between certain members of the minority community and law enforcement. We're blessed and fortunate in Santa Barbara County to not have those issues on any kind of scale that even comes close to approaching that. There are some advocacy groups that occasionally will come and talk and feel as though certain people are not being, I won't even say mistreated, and maybe not being treated in a way that they'd like to see them being treated. We've always, in the Sheriff's Office, have always sat down and talked with people and tried to come to a resolution if there is a complaint or a perceived problem, that we want to work at solving that. As the elected sheriff of Santa Barbara County, I am responsible for protecting everyone in this county, whether they are, regardless of their political party, regardless of where they live, regardless of what their means are, regardless of whether they're here and undocumented or whether they're a citizen. The reality is we protect everyone in this county, and we're sworn to do that, and we're proud to do that. And we want to make sure that no one feels as though, no one group of people feels as though they're being discriminated against in any way. We work very diligently to make sure that our policies are in place that cover that and that prohibit any kind of bias. We do a lot of training in that arena. The expectations are that we're going to treat people the right way. One of our 5 core values is fairness, and we want to make sure that the people that we come into contact with and treat are fair. And every time I swear in a new deputy sheriff or a custody deputy, one of the things I tell them my expectation is that they practice the golden rule of good law enforcement and corrections. And that means that after each and every encounter that they have with another person, whether that person is a fellow employee, whether that person is a member of the public, or whether that person is an inmate in the jail, after each and every encounter they have, they need to ask themselves honestly, if I was that person, would I honestly feel as though I had been treated fairly and professionally and courteously? And if the answer to that question is yes, then I tell them, you're doing a good job. And if the answer to that question is no, then you need to do some self-reflecting and see what was missing, and you need to make it right the next time. We're in the business of protecting and serving everyone in our community. We want to make sure that we do it the right way.
And then finally, anything that you want to add? Anything that you want to share that we didn't ask?
You know, I appreciate the opportunity for this interview, and I would just like to use the opportunity to ask the community for their support in continuing in my role as the sheriff of Santa Barbara County. I'm very privileged and feel honored to be in this position. I believe it's really important to have someone who's that steady, proven leader as we face some of these uncertain and difficult times in the future. I ask people to take a look at my record. I ask people to take a look at my website, www.billbrown4sheriff.com. Take a look at my endorsement list. I have over 800 people who have come out in the period of about 9 or 10 weeks and have stepped up and endorsed me for re-election. That list is led at the top by the governor of the state, Jerry Brown. It includes our 2 U.S. senators, Dianne Feinstein and Kamala Harris. It includes our assembly member. It includes supervisors, mayors, members of city councils, the former, just recently retired superintendent of schools, Bill Cerrone, all of the police chiefs of municipalities in Santa Barbara County, the district attorney. It's a who's who of people in our county and people in our state who are involved in law enforcement. And I would just ask that people really evaluate that list in comparison to the people who are running against me. Look at my qualifications, look at my experience, but mostly look at my desire to continue in this role to provide the best level of service possible that your sheriff's office can deliver. So I ask for the vote of the people of Santa Barbara County on June the 5th.